Hey y'all, welcome to Peyton Energetics. I'm Peyton, and today we are continuing our look at some of the different types of starseed soul missions. So in a previous video, we talked very generally about the different main categories of soul mission. And again, soul missions, like everything in our lives, are very unique and personal. So soul missions can be as unique and individual as you are as a starseed. So you may find that what you are here to do doesn't fit in any of the categories that we're talking about. But after many years of working with starseeds, I found that there are certain groups of what I call mission categories that most starseeds fall into. And so many starseeds will resonate with one of these general categories of what we call a soul mission. So before we jump in, today we are going to be talking about what is known as a frequency anchor. And sometimes these starseeds are also referred to as resonators. So anchors are starseeds who are here to help the frequency of the planet in a very particular way. But before we jump into exploring what a starseed anchor is and how this mission may look in your life and what starseeds do who are anchors, let's talk for a moment about what a starseed soul mission even is. So first off, if you are watching these videos, you probably know what a starseed is. So what then is a starseed soul mission? Why do we talk about soul missions so much in the starseed community? Well, one of the reasons for that is that one of the defining characteristics of starseeds, and something that I see in almost all of my starseed clients, is that starseeds tend to have three general characteristics that you'll see almost across the board in the starseed community. One, of course, is that starseeds tend to be highly sensitive, highly intuitive, highly empathic. Another is that starseeds often feel like they don't really fit into their lives, like they're kind of the black sheep of the family, of the community, of the friend group. But then the third characteristic that so many starseeds share is that they feel like they are here on Earth on a mission, that there's something they're supposed to do. And this is a very unique thing in the spiritual community that always kind of lights up to me that someone may be a starseed. And that is when they start talking about wanting to find their soul mission, wanting to find their soul path. This is something that is very, very common in starseeds. And it can range from just a general interest in kind of knowing what your soul is here to do, to what I see in a lot of my clients, which is they are completely obsessed and preoccupied with figuring out what they are here to do. Because a lot of starseeds have a very, very strong pull inside of them, a knowingness that there's something specific they're here to do. Because as we've talked about in all of these starseed videos, all starseeds are here with the same general purpose. And of course, that is to support Earth through the ascension process. But many starseeds come here to do that in a particular way. They are here to work with frequency in a particular way. And so that's what we're talking about when we talk about a soul mission. It's that thing that you intended to do before you came into your physical body, that unique way that you intended to be of service. So when we are talking about a soul mission for starseeds, we're not talking about something that you have to quit your day job and go off on this mystical quest to do this one thing. This can be something that you just do in your free time. It can be something that is just fun for you. It can be something that you're just very naturally gifted at. So when we think of a starseed soul mission, it's good to think of it as just a general guiding principle, something you may be very good at, something that you may really resonate with. Don't think of the soul mission in this hardcore earth way that it's something you have to devote yourself to 24/7. That's not what we're talking about when we talk about a starseed soul mission. So soul missions are something that play to the strengths of the starseed. So your soul mission will be something that you are very naturally gifted at. And again, in these videos, we're talking about some of the general categories. Again, you could be a starseed who's here to do something totally unique that no one else is doing. And that is completely awesome. So as we always say in energy work, follow your intuition. Don't follow the way other people describe their soul mission, because yours is unique to you. So today we're going to be diving deeply into one of the maybe not so common categories of soul mission. And those are starseeds who are here to be frequency anchors. So a frequency anchor is a starseed who is here to work with frequency in a very specialized way. And some people refer to anchors as resonators. So you may hear other people talking about starseed resonators, and we're talking about basically the same thing. So what is a starseed anchor or resonator? Well, I'm going to share some of the explanations that my Pleiadian guides have given to me, because this happens to be one of the things that I am here to do. So I've had the chance to talk to the Pleiadians a lot about what anchors are, how this mission plays out in real life, what are anchors here to do. So I'll be sharing in this video some of the things that my Pleiadian guides have shared with me to help me understand how to be a better anchor myself. And so as always, take it if it resonates with you, leave it if it doesn't. So the way the Pleiadians and my guide team have explained anchors to me is that a starseed who is here to be an anchor is a starseed who is here to hold a very particular frequency and anchor that frequency into the Earth grid system. So you can think of anchors as acupuncture needles for the planet. They are here to be in a particular location. So oftentimes anchors will find that they are very pulled to live in a particular area. And this is something that happened to me a couple years into my spiritual awakening, when I started to realize that I was being pulled to another part of the country. And I had always been an East Coast girl, had never thought of leaving the East Coast. And all of a sudden, I had a very, very strong urge and pull, knowing that I needed to be somewhere else. And so that is one of the things you may notice if you are an anchor yourself, is you feel very drawn to be in a particular location. And according to the Pleiadians, one of the reasons this happens is because resonators and anchors are spread out over the planet to bring frequency to specific locations. So if you are very drawn to living in a particular place, maybe you're very drawn to Hawaii or to Southern California, or to some of the other power spots on the planet or in the country, it may be because your particular frequency is needed at that location. So an anchor is going to be a starseed who is here to bring a particular frequency to a particular location on the planet. Now, something else that the guides have explained about starseed anchors is, and the way my guides like to joke about this with me, is they tell me that as an anchor, my job is to keep my vibration as high as possible, as often as possible. Because again, as anchors, and really at a general level, this applies to all starseeds, we are all here to bring a high frequency to the Earth plane. But when we talk about anchors, we're talking about people who are here to do it in an even more specialized way, a more focused way. And so one of the things that is really important if you are a starseed anchor is protecting your vibration above everything. So this is something that separates starseed anchors from some of the other types of starseeds. So maybe if you are a starseed who is here to be a teacher and a healer, you might find that you are drawn to different things than a frequency anchor might be. So here's an example of how this can play out. So we talked in the Teachers and Healers video about how starseeds who are here to teach and heal are often very drawn to get in the fray. They are very drawn to go into those places where there are people suffering, where there are people that need healing. Because what are they here to do? They're here to heal and teach, to transmute the darkness. And so starseeds who are teachers and healers may find that they are drawn to be in lower vibrational situations or places on the planet that have more suffering, more drama, because again, they're here to bring light and healing to those areas. But if you are a frequency anchor, you may find that you are the exact opposite. So very often what I see in starseeds who are here to be anchors is they have the opposite inclination. Starseeds who are anchors often feel the need to separate themselves from any sort of conflict, drama, negativity. They want nothing to do with it. And there's a very important reason for that. So I asked the guides about that because I have starseed friends who are healers and they love getting out in the drama and the conflict. And for me, it has just always been a hard pass. And I asked the guides, should I be getting out, in the conflict and the drama? And they told me, no, that's not what your objective is. So the way the Pleiadians explain anchors is that they are driven to protect their frequency at all cost. So anchors are not usually starseeds who are drawn to get in the fray. They are not so much drawn to be around a lot of people of very low vibration, because again, their mission is different. Their mission, if you are an anchor, is to protect your high frequency at all cost. Because again, that's kind of your starseed job, is to hold that high frequency and direct it into the planet, into the planetary grid. So again, this is just an interesting way that you can look at to see which of these pulls you more, which of these resonates more with you as your mission. Because again, starseed anchors, and it's not to say that all starseed anchors function this way. As we always say, every starseed is unique. You may find that you are an anchor who loves to get in the drama and the chaos and mix it up in the 3D world. And that's totally fine. That's totally perfect if that is what resonates with you. But when we talk about anchors, oftentimes one of the trends that we will see is that they tend to stay out of the drama. And again, because they may be feeling very intuitively guided to protect their frequency at all cost. Because again, when you are going out and mixing it up with a lot of lower energies, lower vibrations, it can have an adverse effect on your frequency. And so frequency anchors know intuitively that they're here to protect their frequency at all cost. So that's one of those general signs you can look for to see if you may be a frequency anchor yourself. So one of the things that is unique about starseeds who are anchors is they have to do a little more heavy-duty personal work than the average light worker or starseed. And one of the reasons for this goes back to protecting that high vibration that they came in here to anchor into the earth plane. So unlike some of the other categories of starseed mission, starseeds who are here to be anchors tend to do a lot more personal work than maybe the average person on their spiritual path. And one of the reasons for that is that they're going to feel an intuitive pull to keep their energy and their frequency as high as possible. Because even when we as starseeds haven't quite remembered consciously what we are here to do, our intuition and our higher self always knows and is always guiding us to those things, those practices that will help us fulfill our soul mission. So for frequency anchors, one thing you may notice is you're very drawn to do your personal healing work. You're very drawn to do that shadow work. You are very drawn to learn healing technologies, modalities, and practice them religiously. And again, this is a sign that if you are an anchor, you're being intuitively guided to keep that frequency as high and as clean as possible. So anchors as compared to some of our other starseeds with different mission objectives, tend to be very drawn to the personal work, to be all in when it comes to doing the inner work, to doing that clearing work. Because again, it's that intuitive knowingness that they're here to preserve their high frequency. So let me know in the comments below if you are a starseed who is a frequency anchor. And if so, how did you know that? And how does your soul mission manifest itself? How do you do your anchoring work? I love to hear how these things play out in y'all's life, because these missions are so unique and so varied, and everyone carries them out in a different way. Our mission is just one of the ways that we bring our service to the world as starseeds. So if you are an anchor, drop in the comments what your experience has been with that, how you knew you were an anchor. And while you're down there, don't forget, hit the subscribe button and the like button if you haven't done that yet. Now, another sign that you may be a frequency anchor is that the guides have described that frequency anchors are very skilled at downloading multidimensional information from their galactic family. So if you are someone who channels very easily, if you are someone who gets messages from your guides, from your higher self very easily, if this is something that is just natural to you, that you've always been able to do it, this may be a sign that you are here to be an anchor. And again, one of the reasons for this is that frequency anchors tend to be very connected to their star family, because again, the whole purpose of being an anchor is to bring that high vibrational star energy and anchor it into the Earth grid system. So according to the guides, starseed anchors tend to naturally be very gifted at receiving downloads from the universe, receiving downloads from their intuition, because it's one of those things that helps the starseed fulfill her mission. So if you think that you might be a starseed anchor, and if this is resonating with you, this may be something you are very naturally good at. You may find that you start to tune in and it is so easy, you can do it without giving it a second thought. So if so, this can be one of those signs that you are a starseed anchor. And another reason that starseed anchors are so easily able to bring in downloads of multidimensional information is because another part of the anchor mission is to download those incoming frequencies from the multidimensionals into the Earth grid. So we talked at the beginning about how anchors are kind of like acupuncture needles for the planet. And one of the ways that anchors serve is by bringing those downloads of multidimensional information, wisdom, or even just plain frequency, and sending it through their body into the Earth grid system. Now, we've talked about in a couple of these starseed mission videos about how certain starseed missions tend to be remembered more easily by starseeds. So, for example, if you are a starseed who is here to be a teacher or a healer, you probably came to that conclusion pretty easily. It probably resonated with you, came to your conscious awareness fairly easily. So it seems, and this is just something that I notice through the course of my work as I observe all the starseeds that I work with, that certain missions seem to be easier to remember than others. And so teaching and healing seems to be one of the missions that is easier for starseeds to connect with. And I would place anchors kind of on the other end of the scale. So in my experience, starseeds who are anchors don't necessarily know that that's what they're here to do. So that's one of the reasons we are doing these videos, to talk about missions in greater detail, because some of these missions can be a little trickier to connect with. Because for one thing, most of us have never heard of these things. When I was first starting to explore my starseed mission, I had never heard of anchors or transmuters or grid workers. These were all completely foreign concepts to me. I had never heard anyone even talking about them. And so I had this very strong urge to connect with my purpose. I knew there was something I was here to do, I didn't know what it was. And so I find that some of these categories of starseed missions can be a little trickier to connect with just because we don't know about them. We don't know what these things are. And so we tend to be kind of doing our missions like an unguided missile, not really knowing. And so anchors can fall into that category of being something we don't really realize we're doing. So one of the things that you can look to see if this is part of your mission as a starseed. And another thing about starseed missions, you can be here to do more than one thing. So if you find as you listen to these videos that you're resonating with more than one mission, that's perfectly normal. Missions oftentimes are multi-pronged. So you may find that you are here to be a teacher, but that you are also a transmuter of energy. You may find 3 or 4 that you are doing. So again, don't limit yourself to just one thing. Let your intuition guide you. If you hear these descriptions and it resonates with you, there's a good chance that it's part of either your skill set, those things that you are just very naturally good at, or that it's part of your soul mission. So flexibility is always key when you're exploring your starseed soul mission. Now, some other things that are signs that you may be a starseed anchor are that you may find that it's very easy for you to connect with your star family. And this is something that so many starseeds want to do. They want to reconnect with home. They want to reconnect with their star family. And anchors tend to be able to do that a little more easily. And one of the reasons for that may be because part of their purpose, part of their mission is to bring in multidimensional information and anchor it into the planet. And so because of that, if you are someone who connects very easily with either your spirit team, your guide team, your higher self, or even your star family, that may be a sign that you are a frequency anchor, because that is something that just tends to be a little easier for anchors than for some of the other starseed missions who don't have this same purpose to bring in multidimensional information and anchor it in the grid. So one of the benefits of being an anchor is you may find that it's more easy for you to connect with your galactic family. And finally, something else that the guides like to share about starseeds who are frequency anchors is they say that frequency anchors are little lighthouses. So the way that my guides have described it is frequency anchors will tend to shift energy anywhere they go. So you could be sitting in traffic or standing in line at the grocery store, and if you are a frequency anchor, you are shifting and controlling the energy of that entire space. So this is one thing that, according to the guides, anchors do naturally, and usually without realizing you are doing it. And that is because one of the purpose of the frequency anchor is to hold that very high frequency and share it with everyone. So frequency anchors tend to be very easily able to shift the vibration in spaces. So that may be, you may notice that you just have to walk into a room and you change the energy in the entire room. And one of the reasons for that is if you are an anchor, you are radiating that frequency out to the entire area around you. And again, this is something we are all doing as starseeds, but the guides like to say that frequency anchors in particular are very strong at controlling the energy in spaces, as long as they are protecting their vibration. Now, anchors, like everyone, are very vulnerable to losing that frequency. I mean, come on, we're all banging around here in these human bodies on this crazy planet. And so we can lose our frequency just as easily as anyone can. But for frequency anchors, they tend to be beacons of light. They tend to radiate a unique frequency, that frequency that they brought from their home planet, and use it to shift the energy anywhere they are. So again, that is one of the reasons why the Pleiadians talk so much about why it is so important, if you're a frequency anchor, to protect that frequency above everything. Because again, what anchors are here to do is keep that high vibration and share it with everyone. Everywhere you go, you are sharing your light. And again, everyone is, but frequency anchors are doing this at the next level up. And so if you are a frequency anchor, you may find that you are shifting the energy everywhere you go. And so again, that's one of the reasons why anchors in particular, along also with what we will talk about in another video, which is grid workers who also do this, may be drawn to very specific locations, because what that means is that your frequency is needed in that location. So when we talk about frequency anchors, we are talking about starseeds who are here to bring a very unique high vibrational frequency from their home planet, their home star system, and anchor it into the Earth grid. So for you starseeds who are anchors, as the Pleiadians love to say, it is so important that anchors protect their frequency above everything. So if you find you are someone who is not into the drama situations, you are not into conflict, that it just intuitively you have a very strong guidance to avoid those situations, that can be a great sign that you are here to be an anchor, to be an acupuncture needle for the planet. So anyway, I hope that this has helped you guys understand frequency anchors a little better. Again, they are sometimes called resonators. And again, it is just one type of starseed mission to help guide you to what your purpose is here as a starseed. Because again, our mission is just how we are of service in the world. And you're not bound by it. It is an intention. It is something that you gave yourself, a skill set that you gave yourself before you incarnated. But most of us as starseeds really feel drawn to connect with our soul mission. So let me know in the comments, what is your starseed soul mission and how did you connect with it? And don't forget, while you're down there, click that subscribe button. I'll see you soon. Bye.